in this weekend trading session. We have a lot to go over here. XRP is at about $2.76. It did run up over $2.80, but it's faltered back down here a little bit since the rerun up. It did hit right around $2.97 for its high yesterday. We can see XLM's up 10.9%, but some of the market is starting to give some back. We only have one trade currently open together, and that's to try to play a continuation because ACH is back testing right now the Golden Cross. I don't know if it's going to pan out. We did rather well on Alchemy Pay the first time around, and I wanted to see if we could get a little bit of continuation, but I don't know because it's dangerous today. I've been telling everybody be careful, and some of them are just so volatile. Like Casper, way too volatile. Like I'll watch it, but I'm not interested in owning it at this moment, even though I was looking at it hardcore yesterday. ACH is the one that we're in the copy trade because we were trying to see if we could play that Golden Cross, but it's what I was saying yesterday, that it's a dangerous weekend, and I don't know if this is going to hold. This is technically a back test right now, so to get rid of it now makes no sense unless it were to break down. But it could be, I don't know if it's going to break down. If it does, I'll sell it out and then I'll rebuy it back when it gets to the next support. But right now, it's not in a typical sell spot because it's back testing the Golden Cross, and I am looking for the continuation for transparency. I'm looking for this little cup to fill in the handle and then to finish it up somewhere around 2.4. Maybe it comes all the way up to the busted little channel that was up here before, and we come up to this resistance, but I don't believe that this move is done yet. So I'm kind of just sitting here, even though it is a dangerous spot right now because it's Saturday, and so that's my thinking with ACH. If you're part of that, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, I don't know. But that's why I haven't sold out of it and why I bought back as it back tested this Golden Cross. So we'll see what happens there. The only other things of note that I still have data. And then I have, as you know, DGB. And DGB's done okay. It's up 3.38%. It was for the same reasoning, though. It was back testing this Golden Cross yesterday when I bought it, and it bounced off. So right now, ACH is down here back testing the Golden Cross, and right now, DGB, for the most part, I think looks pretty good. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I've got what I need allocated towards DGB for the moment, and then I'll go from there. But I really want to pay attention to XRP. I really would like to get some feedback from the audience about what they think about ACH, what they think about XRP's continuation possibilities here, what they think of DGB and the plan or the play that I have on it right now. I would love to hear what the audience has to say because I do put a lot of value and I put a lot of stock into what everybody thinks too. I mean, I think we're doing something pretty cool here. So, I definitely like the feedback from everybody, so... But I think we're on the right track today. I really do. Now, Casper, maybe I should look at for the spot position for a 1x. And now that it's down, actually, now that I think about it, it's not something we should just ignore. But now that it came down 5%, that could be an opportunity. So we're going to have to look at that later as well. Here, let's see. Yeah, because data right now, I think, is in a very opportunistic spot if it plays out, because this is another one like ACH hasn't made that second layer. It's back testing the breakout of the pattern. And I think it's just one of those that's in that, it's in that area where it's opportunity area is what it is. And then with Casper, again, it looks dangerous this morning, but it's back testing and it's early still from that Golden Cross. So from a 1x perspective, and we can't buy this together, but that's the area this morning that I left open that I was going to buy and hold yesterday, but I didn't end up going through and going to bed and sleeping through. But Casper would be the A1 right now if we think it's going to have a continuation here with that pending Golden Cross where it's trying to push through. Data's in a great spot, and that's why I hold it right now. I don't know if it's going to break through, but I think it's an opportunity. And then AMP. Once it comes down here and it does the same thing and tests these, this is another one with the Golden Cross setup. So really, it's a hope and a prayer, just like we did a few days ago on some of them that have already broke out. These are three I gave you that are still in that pending process. Casper, Data, AMP, and then if you want to add DGB to it, but that is not on BITUNIX. So that's 4 legitimate ones that are back testing this golden cross. And with what I've seen in the market, I think that might be what's going to play out. Now, another route that I am definitely possibly looking at here is with XDC, but make it very clear here. I'm looking at, that 6-9 level. But the only reason I'm not buying this yet is because, like I said, data has that pending golden cross in the 4-hourly that looks like it's going to finally play out of it. Not pending with data, but it looks like it's going to play the next layer. Because data's already played through, but it's back testing it now. And now I'm looking for that extended move now. Just like with Casper, it's easier to see. This is perfectly back testing right now. We're going to have to seriously have a serious discussion here in this live real quickly here about what your guys' interpretation here. Because I think I'm going to buy Casper on a 1X. And if it goes to shit, it goes to shit. And I know it's very volatile on this Saturday. But this is one that's set up where I want it. The other one that's set up like that for the breakout is data. It's just slightly in front of that. And AMP is another one this morning that is back testing. So these are ones that I'm looking at for a reason. And then obviously DGB. I already bought it yesterday, but now it looks to be breaking out. This is the same back test right now Casper's making and that Alchemy Pay is making. So am I afraid that Alchemy Pays down a couple? I don't care. I told you. You win some, you lose some, but sometimes you got to see the small negative as it's building. We're in 1X position, so it's not anything to worry about. If I lose a few $100s, it is what it is. But I think these are the ones that are setting up. No. If you're shorting XRP right now, it's dangerous. I'm telling you, they're going to eat the shorts up on this liquidity-filled weekend probably. They often do that early in the weekend, like on Saturdays. But your 260 might not be a bad idea because if we're retesting that 20-day on XRP, but now this 4-hour candle kind of speaks of it. This could be a bullish candle here in disguise. Just be careful. I keep telling everybody, be careful this weekend. There's opportunity. When I say be careful, I'm mainly speaking of if you want to take a shot somewhere, just don't use leverage, please. Imagine you use Casper. Somebody asked me if they should use 3x leverage on Casper yesterday. I said, well, you can do whatever you want. But I'm looking at it more from the 1x perspective, and now it's down 6%. So if you were in at 1x, 6% something, but would you rather be down 6.5 or 19 while you're waiting for a move? And Casper, to me, it doesn't look awful. None of these look, the ones we talked about don't look awful. It's just, can they play through on a thinly traded weekend? That's what scares me. That's what's, DGB starting to do what it needs to do, so I'm happy with that. And with the amount of tokens I hold, it's up like $700 since yesterday, so I'm happy about that too. But at the same time, I'm very nervous this weekend. You guys know this. I'm very nervous about the weekend. But I do see a couple that are set up with that continuation move. And generally, AMP doesn't run with the rest of the market. Same with DGB. It kind of runs opposite. They kind of do their own thing. So if we're going to get some kind of a retracement on some of them, I could certainly see a couple of these, still show something. And the fact that Casper dumped out that quickly, it's something to look at. Is the golden cross going to hold here? Or is this just going to be an early outlier that these patterns aren't ready and it just flips through? Who the hell knows, really? But in theory, this should be playing through right now after this back test. So if there's an opportunity, there's an opportunity. And then one would say, well, Tom, where would I ride this 1X opportunity? Because it's basically on a nut point right now to where it needs to pull up at some point. That, my friend, is the $1 million question. That is the $1 million question. I would say you could probably play it down to like 108, but then again, it would look like a reversal candle, which that wouldn't be a good sign. But it's tricky here. It's kind of like you're taking a leap of faith. I don't think anything's safe this weekend. That's the problem. Even though we're in ACH, do I feel good about it? Not entirely. But it's on that golden cross back test. So if you're playing these back tests, this is where we're going to get the early outliers. Are these going to hold these back tests on the golden cross? We have no way of knowing. But that's why I was interested. I sold it towards when it was up here, and then I bought it back down a little bit closer to the golden cross. Just to let it kind of play out. But like I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but my intuition says give it a shot. for myself. And then the group voted 95% to join, so I had no choice but to open it together. But personally, I'd probably prefer to have this trade on my own just in case it went south. But in the end, you know, it is what it is. But I'm looking closely. I hope everybody stays this morning. I'll say hi to everybody. I got to go to bike day for my son today. It's at 11 o'clock, so I have to leave here around 10:40. He gets this bike that's from his therapy. He's been going for his foot that he broke when he was 6 months old in a bad car accident. Wasn't Julie's fault, but it was horrible. And he broke his femur at 6 months old, had some head trauma, and he's still recovering from it all. But he gets a bike today, so, and it's good for his healing and recovery, and it's like a orthopedic bike too, so it's a very in-tuned one. It was donated from some, they donate to the children once a year, and it's a pretty cool thing. And then we'll donate it on when he gets too old. It's like $3,000 bike. And then we have the choice to keep it, but we already made the decision. Once T gets too big for it, we're going to donate it back so somebody like T can get it who's, you know, the age of T right now. And T can ride it until he's, you know, probably closer into his teens. But once he gets old enough, we're going to push it back. Anyhow, let's say hi to everybody. Let me get on the road with this. I know I'm probably boring some of you with some of the talk, but I want to show you around the market my thought process of some of these golden crosses that are looming on a few assets, but then also ones like XRP and some that, where could these areas of return be? Where could we end up pushing to? And are we going to, in fact, make a push back over $3, return back to that $3? Because generally, you don't just melt down without a back test of the previous topping points. So much like when we drop and we have the retest of the drop points, sometimes when you rise, you also have a retest of the rise points too, even if it's bearish. So shouldn't be too bad here. We just got to make it through the early part of this weekend with no nonsense news with geopolitical stuff, which we can never control. But I'm encouraged to see that Casper did dive that 6%, to be honest with you. It needed to cover that ground. I'm encouraged to see data covered that ground. I'm encouraged to see ACH and AMP are covering that ground as we speak. I mean, the only reason I'm not in AMP at this exact moment is I would like to buy it right at the golden cross point, just in case it overshoots it and maybe it comes to the 200. But it's not, this is the part where you have to have the faith to play the continuation. You know, it's just, This is where the money is actually made, in these moments. You know, it's in these decisions when it doesn't look great. It's retracing. And you got to make a gut decision. This is honestly where it's made. Like, I'm not looking at XRP in that same way because it's at a different point. That's why I'm looking at certain ones that are at that point. So I don't know. Those ones that are at that point of backtest, they're going to tell us a lot too, because if they all fall through, that means that our ones that have already rose up faster are going to have to backtest quicker. And here's the thing. I can tell you for a fact, Bitcoin needs the backtest 113,579. But the other fact I can tell you is it hasn't filled the technical move up from when the cup and handle broke out yet, back in November, of 122,186. So it could warrant, before a nice little skedatter up to 122,000, then a back test of 113.5 before the ultimate push to 143.8. And the reason I say that is if that scenario plays out, it gives all of these that are back testing that golden cross the chance to break out and finish the move in the daily to the 200 at least, or even maybe farther. But most of them like to go to that 200 when the golden cross happens in the 4 hourly. And then it back tests it, and then you'll start moving to the 200 in the daily after. And that's where I think a few of these assets are trying to go. And I think it leads a lot of credibility to that fact that the weekly is so fucking great right now with even Bitcoin's back testing a little bit. That weekly is skyrocketing out of here right now. And I think it leads a little credence to the fact that we could go to 122 first. But the other thing I look at is there's so much. It's amazing how many people are taking shorts out right now. Do you know there's more shorts out right now than longs? Or at least there was last night when I went to bed. That's astounding. And that could play to the fact that, you know, the short-term fall everybody's looking at, and they're just piling on right now. So if everybody's getting that right, it's going to be astounding. It's not astounding that so many people are going short because it's the obvious play right now. At least on Bitcoin to 113.5 if it needs the back test. This is what we talked about yesterday, why I was telling everybody be careful on the weekend. But I want to see how the ones that are ahead and the ones that are behind play out, because if this comes down from here and we do in fact come to 113.5, the ones that I'm speaking of on the other side of this, it's going to be interesting exactly how they play out. Like, does Casper just break through? Does AMP just fall through? Does ACH just fall through? Which right now it's down 2.35%. And honestly, it's not looking good in the regard of the morning right now. In the back test regard, yeah, we're right there. So we have to see. But, you know, it's anybody's guess what happens here. It really is. It's speaking of a back test. But how often do they break through? You know, that's the other thing. With all of these, this is gut punch moment right now, in my opinion. Like, it really is. Like, this is the gut punch moment. Like, are we about to fall through? Or is there any testicular fortitude left in this market? Because I'm not going to stay in ACH all day. If it costs me $300 to $500, it's going to suck on this back test because of how much I have. I have 222,000 tokens. But it'll still leave me at a net positive of like $500 on this move for ACH in totality. It's just, you give a little bit back to try to see if you can get the rest of it. You know, it wasn't ideal for me, but I really want to see if this plays out, this back test, because it's not finished. It really shouldn't be finished here. Unless they're really going to pull the guts from us, which I can't see it happening just yet. You generally follow the bots, man. So when you follow the bots, it doesn't seem like we would just give it all back right now, but we could. We could. That was our debate yesterday, why I sold out of so much stuff that we were in, because I had like $15,000 as a group, plus we were up like a ridiculous amount. And it's like, I didn't want to sit through the weekend and all that. Now, I was willing to buy the ACH at the Golden Cross, which it's a plus minus of, we got to wait like 5 to 7%, so it's a pain in the dick. So we could get a big kick in the nuts here. But I'll tell you this much, if this doesn't pan out and these rotate back down, I've already committed myself to sell out $10,000 worth of my BITUNIX portfolio and send it into a nice structured moment for future planning, but it'll be off of BITUNIX and set into savings of sorts. How I like to do it on crypto.com and just leave it there, because I have my crypto debit, or the crypto Visa debit card that's prepaid, so I'll put some more on there. But that would be my payment to myself, because we're up like 15 grand. Now, if I give $500 back here, I'm going to be only up like 14.5. And, or let's say, who knows, maybe it gives back a little bit more of that profit. So I'm going to pay myself back and still be in surplus of 4,000 and then have that for the future. But that's what I do. So I'm basically in a penalized phase right now. If this doesn't pan out, I would penalize myself. If it pans out, no penalization. But this is how I trade. Good morning. 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, July 12th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XOM Future Digibyte OG. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. If I didn't know any better, I'd say there's some upward fireworks that have to present themselves this morning. As we build into maybe a bloody Sunday, we're going to have to build some kind of character on Saturday to induce the viewing audience into buying on this Saturday, when there is no stock market trading. So I am not going to be bullied around. I am not going to be pushed around. And if I got to give some back of my gains, so be it. But I'm going to watch ACH play out. I'm likely going to take a shot on Casper while we're live this morning. And then if I cost myself a little bit of money, and don't worry, Casper can't be bought on the group trade. Don't worry, Data can't be bought on the group trade. Don't worry, AMP can't be bought on the group trade, so it won't affect you. But ACH will absolutely affect you, because I have 222,000 that is with the group. Not dollars, but tokens, which is like almost $5,000. But I am not afraid of the market. The market's very kind to Sir XRP Future Millionaire when he's not being a pussy. And right now is one of those moments. You can't be a pussy. You got to look at some of them that are in proper perspective. So I am going to be an idiot, not a pussy, and be forward thinking. But this could turn into a $10,000 payday if I fuck this up and lose a couple $100 here. So either way, I feel pretty good about it. But right now, I'm going into Casper with no vote of the audience. And on BITUNIX, you can only buy it in the futures market, but I buy it on 1x because I am not looking to gamble. Nor do I pretend to want to be a gambler. So I'm going to do it 1x. Not 3x, not 2x, not 100x. 1x. And I would like to buy, what is it at? Let's see if this is a stupid gambler's intent. Okay, so we're at 1120. We're only going to get this chance for a minute. So we're at 1120. And this is just me. This is either going to be a great move or it's going to be an idiotic move. And I'm not telling anybody to do this because I am not a financial advisor. In fact, in the 4 hourly, it looks like hell. So that's why I'm trying to see right now. But I like the hell moments if I'm going to try to take a shot. And then again, you know, this could fall off here and then it could be down another 5%. So, you know. Discretion, discretion, discretion. Discretion, discretion, discretion. But, you know, no risk, no reward, right? No reward, no risk. How stupido could lose like $250 here right now, depending on how much I put in. So, trying to come to the numbers. So let's say hi to everybody before you all run away. And thank you so much for the, you know, it's so weird how TikTok or YouTube's working right now with subscribers. You want to hear a funny story? So in the last 7 days, you want to hear the sporadicness of subscribers? So, July 7th, I gained 187 subscribers. July 8th, I lost 20 subscribers. July 9th, I gained 160 subscribers. Oh, let's back up. July 5th, 196. July 6th, 200. July 7th, 187, so we're on a roll. July 8th, losing 20. July 9th, back to the roll, gaining 160. July 10th, the day that as a community, I made almost $3,000 in the group trades around that day, and the group made around 9,000. I lost 248 subscribers on YouTube that day. Not exactly sure what it was. Were people mad that we made money? Were they mad they weren't in the group trade? I mean, it was all free. And no, I haven't made a Casper trade, so don't do anything. I'm just saying, that's what I'm looking at. But that was we lost 248 subscribers. And then yesterday we gained 94 back, and today clearly there's a lot more. So there's got to be a couple hundred that came back. So I don't know if YouTube's just shadow banning the shit out of me and messing with my subscriber count to make it not so good with the analytics on some. I don't know what's going on. I've never seen it so volatile, especially on a day where we made all that money. It doesn't seem right that I would have lost 240 subscribers that day, but I guess that would be kind of the way the world works in a way. Kind of a way. So, I don't know. I don't know if YouTube's dicking with me or what's going on, but we're up to 45,500 subscribers now, which is an all-time high. So, regardless, thank you to the new ones who have found their way back. You know? Yeah, I know. It sucks how bad YouTube is right now. But let me try to say hi to some of you. Angel, welcome in. Tango, good morning. Thanks for being in town for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Paranomia, Mia, welcome in. Paranomia. Tanya, welcome in, and thanks for being in town for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moonbed. So glad to see you. I know you said it's hot as hell in Dublin, I think you said. But, yeah, we've been getting some really hot weather here, too. Michael, welcome in. Jorge, good evening, or good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and being a very trusted mod, saying hello to the people and hello to me. I appreciate that. John Bugathorpe, good morning and welcome in. Glad to see you in here, my friend. Mosey here and Mark Caston, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Size 13 Nikes, Jay from X, John Hall, Maria, welcome in. Listen to Jorge and subscribe to my channel. He says subscribe to Tom's channel or hit that like button on the way in and consider subscribing to Tom's channel for the best TA on YouTube, which is technical analysis. Also consider joining Tom's Army, which is a clever play on the TA. And my name's Tom, and you can be part of my army. It's a trifecta. Clever, and most people won't even realize that the TA is so many more things. Technical analysis, Tom's Army, you know. I guess, testicular annoyance by some. Let's see. Defined Group, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. Texas Papa, good morning. And thank you for being in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Good morning, senor. I appreciate it so much. Maria says, I'd love to get some DGB. I think it's a good one. Decentralized to the core, but now no more extra budget. Maybe next week I'll buy it. Yeah, I hear you with that. The only reason I bought some DGB, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't going to because I was going to wait for it to come on BITUNIX, but I don't mind buying it on Albank and letting it sit there because they're very transparent. But my thing was like, I need to create some extra capital, and I had an unrealistic 4-day period that's not going to be easily, let's just say, what happened the last 3 or 4 days for the community and just me and personally isn't going to be able to be remade the same way. I probably won't get that opportunity to make that much money in that sort of a period of time, probably the rest of the year in crypto, unless we have continuation in a big way. But I ended up using that capital and I moved it over to Albank, bought the 2 million tokens, and now it's up like, I don't know, it was down a few percent when we bought it yesterday. We were on a kind of on a flyer yesterday when it was trying to back test a golden cross. And we took a shot, and now it's paying off so far, but we'll see if we get continuation. And then I also took off $3,500 on top of that off of BITUNIX and put some onto my crypto Visa debit card because I like to add some cash. I like to have like 20,000 in liquid cash, just prepaid on my Visa card so that it's just for purchases. It's kind of like a credit card, except I'm not using a credit card, I'm using prepaid card. But I get free CRO and things like that. So to me, it makes it worth my time. So I've got about, what do I have left on BITUNIX? If I'm being honest. I got 18,500 plus on BITUNIX now. But I've got, closing it on 18,000 now on, what do you call it? Albank, because of DGB. I'm not moving it around. I'm just going to keep it there. And then I've got, what I have on crypto.com. It's not tradable. That's just liquid cash that if I'm going to turn it back into fiat, I just put it there. So, but obviously, let's say like maybe MXC, because I've had an eye on it, maybe I do use that $3,000 and maybe I do buy MXC and take the hit because it is getting the shit beat out of it right now. And I've been tempted, I must be honest, because it's back into my, okay, we had a big gap down here, and better yet, we had it down here, came up, came back down, came through, but we never came back into this area until right now, and we talked about this before. Now that we came back here, and now we back tested this move up as well, I'm tempted a little bit. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be 2,000. Maybe it'll be 1,500. Maybe I'll step back and be like, hey, maybe a $1,500 investment. But it's coming back down to where it's in that desirable area, and the only place I can buy it is crypto.com. So, I don't know. It's definitely tempting now that I have that $2,000 sitting free, because I did put, I think it was 1,000 on the crypto, or 15 or 1,900 on the crypto Visa debit card yesterday. I'm just trying to tell you guys the way I approach this. So. And like when I say like I'm taking a gamble to try to play that ACH, it's a gamble because if it doesn't pay off, I have to pay myself a rather large portion of what I have. And that's just the deal I made with myself. Leaves me plenty of money to be able to build a portfolio back up. But, I still owe myself like $6,000. I've only set myself around $4,000. So we'll see what happens here. And the reason I had to send that is because I sold out of those positions. And then I have a system that I play. So, I don't know. It's just the way that I stay ahead in crypto. So now I don't really have to worry about an income for the next several months with what's just happened at all. Which I'll have an income coming in from trading and doing my stuff. But this is how you have to do this, guy. Like, this is where it's at. Like, do you think Casper is worth it right now? Or do you think it's bullshit? Because I think this more than likely will play out. And this is a overzealous sell-off. There's not a lot of volume on the sell-off. If I was a betting man, which I'm probably going to be this morning, and like I said, if I got to pay myself back, you're just playing my game right now. So if you want to trade with me, you got to trade like me, and I'm not changing the way I am for anybody. The last time I did that, it was very detrimental to not only me, but everybody else who's watching. So if you're becoming more and more enlightened into what I do. So Casper, I need to see this, and go to XRPFutureMillionaire.com. Become a deeper part of all of this. Look at my creation that you guys have allowed me to do. This is so you don't have to go on TradingView if you have no experience. You don't have to do all of that. Just get on an exchange that you understand, or get on my website, type it in, and you can put up 3 indicators. Volume's there automatically because I chose it that way, because I think all of you need to have volume in there because you need to see what's happening. And then we got to find a chart that it's been around for longer so we can see this MACD if it'll allow us. But we need a chart that Casper's been around on. Where's Binance? Let's see. Where did I see Cat? I know Casper. I'm pretty sure it's been on. Who's it been? KuCoin. It's probably been on for a long time. Because we need to see some. Okay, there we go. There's a little bit of the money flow. See, it's turning green too on Casper. I want to go back farther, but it's so hard. We can go back into a smaller time frame. Let's go into a weekly. But you can see in the monthly, it's flipping green. That is bullish. Weekly money flow. Still a little red. It never went truly that red back here after consolidation. So we're flipping into green in the monthly, but red a little bit in the weekly. Daily's definitely getting back into the green. I don't know. It looks like to me Casper's getting ready for something much bigger. See if I can find one that's maybe a little bit deeper. It's been a while since I went deeper into the Casper. So I think MEXC has a decently long chart as well. Let's go into the... Try to get this into the monthly again. I don't want to do 12 months, though. It's going to be too long. Oh, there we go. See the money flow? We're money, or the MACD's telling us it's positive right now. So that's also something that is not bad. When should you re-enter XRP? I don't know, because I never exited with my 34-cent holdings. So, like, when I was telling everybody if you weren't in 229 would have been that nut buy. A hold at 265 would be the next layer, but now you're getting way up there. Like, I'd be uncomfortable buying it right now, if I'm being honest. Even though it looks great, but there's other opportunities. Like, I could just as easily put this money that I'm looking at Casper and put it on XRP and have abundance. But I think Casper, just where it's at, it's just... Can some of you relate to that? Like... It's just fucking A. Everything's flowing better. But yeah, who said that? Devin, I know you love it, and I know you're patiently waiting. I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going to do the same thing with you. And Devin, for good, for bad, for gain, for loss, for pass or fail, at least you've got a brother with 1 million tokens now with you. So we're going to sit here, and if it breaks down, it's going to cost me $400 or $500 at minimum, probably. Maybe a little bit less. But I too see the value in Casper right now, and the money's finally flowing. It's finally reversing that flow. And then if you turn the RSI on top of it, I know some people are like, well, this is bullshit. I came here for XRP, and we're hearing everything but XRP. Well, I'm speaking of opportunity. Look at where it's at right now, too. I mean, there is potential out the yin-yang right there. It's just, there's also not so much potential. And if it falls, you know, it's just one of those moments. You know, but it is set up for a pretty big reversal up right now if it can hold this back test. And if you're looking for the best possible buy on the back test, this is the nut point right now. I can't explain it. Look how it's stuck. Can't explain it any deeper. The market right now, however, is in a bit of turbulence. It doesn't know what to do. But like I said when I started, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I think a lot of people going into the weekend now, they just assume that it's going to fall out. And I told you, the thing that's got me intrigued, everybody's smelling shorts. So when all these people have shorts out, you know what I do? I try to buy. And then once those shorts are exploded, then I can slowly back away again. Especially if I find the proper positioning. But I digress. I've been talking 34 minutes, and I feel like I've just been talking, but in a good way. Maybe you've learned something this morning. Strider thinks the market's going to dump this weekend. We shall see. How about XCN? Well, I was in XCN, and it paid off very handsomely yesterday because I was in, as you guys know, the 10x trade before it ever started moving up. And after the move up, I sold out around 1.8. And I was transparent with the audience. I said why. Because it had to have a very healthy back test, which it's having, and it had. So now it could be building something, but that's the 2 hourly, 4 hourly. If we're looking for those golden cross, it still has a little bit further to come back test it. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at within a rhythmic flow. If I can get this flow down, remember how it flowed on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we were making from hand over fist. We made money hand over fist. The community made almost 10 grand. Now, with ACH, we've probably given back $100 or $125. No joke. Had I, you know, it's possible it's that much. Maybe it's more. I don't know. I don't look at it in the moment. I couldn't care less. But if we can get this rhythmic flow down, so we have DGB, right? So this is why I said DGB is almost like an outlier for us. It had the back test. It's starting to push off of it. Now, can it continue on or does it break through? We don't know. Does it double down, back test? I don't know. We'll see if it holds, and I'm not selling it until that golden cross were to break down. Same thing with if we're looking at the out ahead, because I've tried to explain this with XRP. It's light years ahead of these patterns already. XRP is light years ahead of these patterns that we're talking about on these particular assets. You can't even, it's apples to oranges. When I say light years, I mean light years ahead. As in, these need to do like a 6x just to catch up. See what I'm saying? So, ACH is back testing. So, this is another one. When DGB did this, it started to round out, and then we ended up having like a 5 to 7% surge, and now it's back testing that move up. Does ACH do the same thing? I don't know. That's what we're trying to see and let it play out. It got down to as much as like 3% down this morning. So, we'll see what happens. It's gained back it's part half of those losses. But we're still down about 1.5%. Then you look at Casper, which is in the exact same thing. It's back testing. Was over the 200. The only difference here is it hasn't made the golden cross yet. So now you're literally buying and thinking that it's going to make this golden cross and it's looming and this is an overzealous breakdown. That's what you're buying. You're buying an opportunity. Now it's crazy that it's still down at that exact same spot. It's just not moving. Like it's given it all it had in sell for the moment, but we'll see if it follows through because there's really no way of telling. So it's either that breaks out and we hold this back test, or in the daily time frame this comes unglued and we start finding ourselves below this area. But you know, we'll see. It's impossible to say right now. But you're kind of buying a leap that that's going to play out. Now, if it doesn't play out and the market rotates down, you know, it's going to be the momentary loss of funds because things are going to go down. But at least you'll have a better understanding. I'm not going to get punched in the face right now because I'd rather lose money on some of these back tests and playing a couple of strategic points on certain assets and let the shorts end up getting liquidated and make some money in the process. Or I'm willing to give back just a tiny bit and play this out to see if it plays through, if that makes sense. It's almost like when you're playing 18 holes of golf. You have a great 9 holes. You have a bad 10th hole. You retreat a little bit on the scorecard, which I don't golf. I mean, it's just an analogy. And are you going to quit and not play through 11 to 18 even though you're having a great day? You're going to let that little retracement on 10 stop you from what could be on 12 to 16 for the fear that 18's a monstrosity out there and there's a hurricane? Or are you going to kind of play through the unevenness and see what happens? If you keep playing like shit, you walk away. You know, if it keeps going against you. But right now, it's kind of that in between. So I think there's opportunity here. And I also think I have to keep some capital open because once XDC does what I was saying, I'm going to be back in. And it's getting very close because what I was looking at was that it was going to top out here, which it came close. It didn't come up as high as I said. And then I thought it would back test this little gap that was left. I was convinced of it when it first went up. So I refused to buy it back. So that's something I'm also looking at. So I think there's a lot of opportunity on this weekend, and a weekend that's tied in with, oh my God, we have fear, fear, fear again, and there's no way it can keep going up, or we still got to back test the drop still. So I have confidence that we're not done yet. Let's see. I know I'm not getting to a lot of comments. I apologize. Joey McCaffrey, thanks for the $5 donation. Been in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteors. Has just joined the copy trading with you, Tom. Very appreciative of you for your sharing knowledge with us. I appreciate that. But don't be thanking me yet, because you very well could have just walked into a loss on Alchemy Pay. So if you're in it with us. You know, I told people this before we made a lot of money. Don't think it's guaranteed money. I've lost money just like I've gained money. You know, and I take chances. And I left it up to the audience for a vote. 95% of you wanted to take the risk with me with Alchemy Pay. I would have been fine with taking it myself. And if I could have, I would have dragged you along with Data and the other ones, but I couldn't because DGB's not even on BITUNIX. Data you can't do in the copy trade. AMP, even if I buy it back, you can't do in the copy trade. Casper I bought, but I can't do it in the copy trade. I mean, I literally just bought it. You know. And I'm playing the if it's gonna end up reversing here on this golden cross potential. There's no guarantee it's gonna reverse here, folks. Like I might have just pissed away and then yeah, it is what it is. But I'm willing to take a shot here. I'm willing to take the shot. We're taking the shot. We're taking the shot. No money was ever gained when they were feeling down. If you told me yesterday I could get after I sold out of that leverage trade on Casper, you tell me I can get the spot positioning back, and it came down all of that. It's down like 20% from the top yesterday. So, actually, I might have accidentally opened it in 2x because I don't think I used enough money. I was going to say, I think I didn't even put enough in there. I think it's a 2x trade. I'll be goddamn. Is it really? I'm going to say, it doesn't make any sense. I was adding up how much was in my futures. I'm like, how do I have $1 million? Because I set it to $1 million buy. In fact, it's on a 2x trade. Here I am looking like the jackass. So yeah, I put it on 2x. I'm not going to change it. But apparently the Casper's on a 2x. Interesting. Interesting. Well, either way, we're playing it. 2x gives me 50% liquidity. It's fine. I don't know. Do you guys feel like what we're feeling here? Like the market kind of feels like it's probably going to go up still? Oh, John Bugathorpe, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad. Tom, could you show an example of how to find the backtest of the Golden Cross you mentioned? Absolutely. So, look, everybody. So, if you're looking for the Golden Cross, all that is depending on the time frame. We're looking at the 20-day or the 4-hour time frame. So, when I say it's a looming Golden Cross for Casper, this ironically is also how we bought every single one of our things before they had the breakout. Remember, it was in this exact positioning with the exact same momentum down, and we had to take the forward risk. So the Golden Cross would be the 20-day, not only moves through the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average, which is right here, but it also moves through the 200-day. So that 20-day moving average, this red line, has to come all the way through the blue line, and you have a Golden Cross. Now, some don't like to consider it until the 50-day, which is down here and what's like the orangest line, comes through the blue line to make it the 50 through the 200. I, on the other hand, don't just do 50, 100, 200. I do the 20, 100, 20, 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages. So I can see it from 20 days out, so I don't have to wait for the 50-day. So I can get kind of like a signal that something's flipping. So right now, because we're using the 20-day, we can see it's already at a bullish cross through the 50 and the 100. Now we're waiting for a pending Golden Cross here. Now, what usually happens after an artificial breakout past the daily is it backtests very hard and violently that 20-day, maybe all the way down to the 50 and 100-day crossing, but it didn't come that far yet. But it oftentimes comes and retests there. And then now if this breaks out from here, you're going to get that Golden Cross, and then eventually we'll backtest the Golden Cross. For example, Alchemy Pay was in this exact same scenario. Look at what I'm talking about, except it didn't break over the 200-day as much as Casper. This broke up, back tested the 20 where this movement initially started, broke out, and then you see the 20 now cross the 200. And now the cool thing about Alchemy Pay, which is why I'm not afraid to ride this with the group, even though you've seen a little bit of a loss down 3% earlier, is because now we've got confirmation of the 50 crossing the 200. Now we have a more confirmed outlook that this should in fact continue on. We've back tested the actual golden cross on the 20-day right now. See, we have the golden cross 21 all the way through the 50, 100, and 200. So now there's your golden cross, which is what you're asking, John, how to identify it. So then you have that, and now you oftentimes after the initial move, you back test. So we sold the initial move. I just had too much with the group. I had so much of HBAR and XLM and IOTA and Alchemy Pay to where we were at like plus $15,000 worth of assets. And it was up for the group in total almost $10,000. For myself, about $3,000. So I wanted to stay with an asset, have $5,000 we could use together, but put it towards what I seen back testing in a proper, and I see this happening. So that's why we went that route. I asked for a vote, yada, yada. But that's the golden cross. That's the thinking with the golden cross. So now you see ACH how it's set up. You see how Casper set up, why you could take a chance. Also, AMP, it hasn't come all the way down there, but you don't necessarily have to tap it 100%. But another one where the 20 cross 200, we're pending with the 50 about to cross the 200. If we make another move up, that's going to happen in a short order. So then the next move up would be here. But I'm more comfortable, and I'm not saying I don't like AMP, because I really do like AMP, but I like the positioning of data. I like the positioning of data mainly because it's already done the golden cross. And it's back testing, not just the 20-day, which it did right here. Make no mistake about it, it did right here. Now we're back testing on the second drop and even came through a little bit. The pattern breakout back test. This is big. This is big. And you've had a bona fide reversal here. Now the daily, what we're going to seek is the 200-day, remember. So now I'm confident we're going to come up here at some point, like 022. Hell, I'm only as confident as I am because I'm not a financial advisor, and I could be leading us to the freaking slaughter. Remember that. So you make your own decisions and live by it. If you don't make money, you don't make money every time. We just have a philosophy where we buy it at certain points, and I'm not afraid to buy it when it gets to those points because I have it forward thought. I forward think this before it happens. And then if it doesn't work out in my favor, it doesn't work out in my favor. There's nothing I can do about it. But more times than not with this philosophy, we're going to have stretches like we had over the last 3 days. Maybe not to the tune of as much as it was, but maybe to the tune of $500 to $1,500 in a day. Or maybe there's a $3,000 week, not $15,000 week. I'm not going to get mad about a bigger week, but I'm just saying you have to have perfect conditions to be met. And now look, I called out the 069 and said, hey, until it gets to 069, we can't really look at it because there's two things that can happen with XDC. One, it holds this back test of the gap, right? It's actually like 0.685. Or it comes all the way back down to 0.62, which that, I don't know, but it never back tested. Except the small back test, which is why I think that you could technically hold here and then you could be okay. So I think that is a nice spot. If you're looking, how many people in my audience want XDC and don't own XDC? Remember, it can't be bought on copy trade, so this would be your own personal portfolio. How many people don't have XDC and think they missed the boat? Right now, this is the back test coming up. Now, we talked about yesterday. The subscribers count isn't real. I mean, yes and no. I can tell you it's very real if you start a channel and you have no subscribers and no subscribers are coming. Or if you're stuck in the 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. It's very real. You're gaining subscribers, but the way that it's done, it's not done in real time, I don't think. I think they artificially rise it and drop it as needed. But they use the base that's available to you. What's your take on AVAX? Wow. Is that Avalanche? I haven't looked at AVAX in so long. Damn. I haven't heard that name in a very long time. But I feel pretty comfortable with what we're at right now. I know we should be more bearish right now on some of these, but the ones I've talked about, there's a reason I'm talking about it. And XRP we've talked about, but I'm trying to enlighten within these two so you can see, like, XRP is not for trading. If you're holding XRP, you're holding it either for the calamity move or You're having separate bags where one never is touched. Like, that's what I did at 34 and 38. The 38 is gone, long gone. The 34 one is sitting pretty. And that just chills with XRP Healthcare until the time is right on the XRP Healthcare app. There's so much. I've got nothing but time right now. And I'm not looking to necessarily put everything back in, the fiat. I don't want it in fiat. I like to have spare cash so I can spend fiat when I have stuff to buy. But I don't necessarily want it in fiat. That's why I have precious metals, gold and silver, mining stocks, things like that. Emerging market funds and crypto. I try to make my money work for me. I really do. But the problem with making your money work for you is some people think that means just buy everything on God's green earth. Or buy it at any particular time. That's not what I'm saying. That's how you lose all your hard-earned money. Raise your hands if you're somebody who's lost, money in crypto over the past week. And mainly not because you made mistakes, but maybe you overtraded. How many of you made money but overtraded and ended up giving it back? That's the other thing. And these are all learning experiences. Make no mistake about it. They are all... Here's another one. This is yet another one on the 3-hourly back testing, 4-hourly back testing. This is another one, another prime example of, and obviously I don't have the funds to buy this one because I have my other ones that I have set up. But this is certainly another one on the go. Well, AVAX is actually a rather large one, so that's a big inverse head and shoulders. I remember watching this when it was setting up for a long time. We actually charted this out. I don't remember which chart it was. That's a massive inverse head and shoulders. If this golden cross plays out, you're going to end up at like $24 in time. The next big step would be up here at 23, 22.50. But yeah, that's another one. Whoever said that, G-Stat, that's absolutely in the same fundamental setup of the ones we're trying to take a risk on. Not even a risk, but trying to play out the golden crosses. So this is one that's absolutely in that same fundamental setup. But guys, I got to get winding down here because I got to get going soon because we got to go to my son's bike day. It's been an honor and a privilege. And we'll see how this plays out. You'll see me more today. This isn't the only time you'll see me, but I did want to put content out before we left. Hopefully it plays out in our favor with what we've been talking about. Hopefully we see the market for what it is right now and we have a great grasp. And it ends up playing out for us. The only thing that I would like to discuss is 1, XDC. 2, I need to make sure I thank everybody who donated that I haven't got to. Tango, thank you for not only being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP meter, but your first YouTube super chat. And a cool emote on top of that with the sunglasses. Almost looks like Batman. Thank you so much for that. Somebody retracted their statement, but they were part of Tom's Army for 4 months, but I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. I sold 75% of my crypto that I owned in December. Remember, I had a bag of XRP at I've been very transparent. 38 cents, and you guys watched it, and I don't even know why I'm explaining myself. Yeah, 75% of my crypto that I held, I sold. Some of it I re-entered, some of it I didn't, but I made 15 grand in 3 days with this entire audience watching, and you guys made 10 grand, the ones who were copying. But yeah, I did. I sold a shitload. But that was in December and January. What's there been 6 months with a 60 to 80% drop? I bought all of it. A shit ton of stuff back on Tuesday, just before the pump Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Bought HBAR, bought IOTA, bought Algo, bought what else did we buy? We bought XLM, we bought Data, we had XCN, we had Theta in different ways. There was just so many. You're gonna have to stay in tune, my friend. That's kind of a blanket statement. Yes, I sold and I was very happy I did, but I never touched. And I've been very transparent. The 34-cent XRP sits there with XRP Healthcare, and I don't count it into the discussion of what I have in my portfolio. Some of you who are newer don't understand that yet, but I don't consider XRP or XRP Healthcare part of my portfolio I talk about every day. It's not on BITUNIX. Nor is it at my DGB on LBank. I don't talk about it. It sits there, but it's like I said, it doesn't exist. It's in the same way I don't talk about my mining stocks. They're there, but I don't talk about them every day. Just because I don't talk about them doesn't mean they're not there. It's just, it should be a given to everybody. I'm not selling that XRP until it goes to where I want it to. I have others that I can sell. I have other games that I play. I made a shitload on XRP, over $30,000 in this cycle from the 38-cent bag. So I am not mad at all. At all. But I would like people to be more transparent when they talk about my content for new people. You know, that's a kick in the dick when you come in here and you start talking things, but you don't finish the thought or you leave it blanketed. I don't like blanket statements that aren't necessarily on point. Yeah, I'm shutting this off right now. Tango, thank you for the $2 donation. Josh Jolly, thank you for joining Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. But I have to go. I have to go. Thank you all so much. Mo, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year. Crazy Paul, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months. I've given you all the possible time I possibly can. XRP, looking for continuation here a little bit here, trying to retest that $3 point. But we'll see what happens. And hopefully the next time I talk, we're over, you know, having an abundance of a push. Thank you, everybody. But show integrity. And part of integrity is, you know, don't misrepresent other people's stuff. And not what the comment there was, but in general, a lot of people misrepresent